What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here to this channel, what's up? My name is Ryan Padilla, and today I wanted to talk about why Home Alone is a great holiday film. Yep, Home Alone is a great Christmas movie for all of us to watch today, and plus today in this video I wanted to talk about why I liked it. So let's get started on talking about it, alright guys? Alright, so here we go. The reason why Home Alone was a great Christmas movie is because it's a great film for all of us to watch, featuring the character of Kevin McAllister being left home alone when his family goes on Christmas vacation, but they all forgot about him. But nobody noticed that when Kevin is home alone, two group of burglars are trying to rob the house, but luckily Kevin puts out booby traps to scare them off or whatever, or if they come in, they'll get injured so that he can defend his home. Yep, Home Alone is a great Christmas movie for all of us to watch. The director of the film is Chris Columbus, who is a great director, producer, and screenwriter of feature films. The screenplay for the film was written and produced by John Hughes, who is a great director, screenwriter, and producer of feature films like Mr. Mon, National Lampoon's Vacation, 16 Candles, Weird Science, The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Uncle Buck, and most of every movie he's known for. The composer for the film is John Williams, who you all might know him for being the composer on the Star Wars franchise. Cinematographer for the film is Julia McCat, and the editor for the film is Raja Gosnell. The distributor for this movie is 20th Century Fox. The actors part of this film is Macaulay Culkin playing Kevin McAllister, Catherine O'Hara as Kevin's mom, John Hurd as Kevin's dad, Jerry Bamman as Kevin's uncle, Uncle Frank, Terry Snell as Kevin's aunt, Aunt Leslie, Devin Rattray as Buzz McAllister, Kevin's older brother, Kieran Culkin, Macaulay Culkin's younger brother, who is a great actor today in Hollywood, was cast to play Fuller, Kevin's younger cousin. Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci were cast to play the two burglars in the film, Marv and Harry, aka the Wet Bandits. And most of everybody were cast in the film as well. When Home Alone was released on November 16th, 1990, Home Alone was a great and massive success, grossing about $1 million at the box office, and critics and fans praising this film for being a great movie, Plus, Home Alone is a great movie featuring a kid left home alone to defend himself from burglars, So yep, Home Alone is a great movie for all of us to watch, and I give this movie a thumbs up because it's a great film, and plus Home Alone made Macaulay Culkin a breakout star for that film. The success of the movie spawned a franchise, starting with Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. Home Alone 2 Lost in New York is a direct sequel to Home Alone, and it features Macaulay Culkin, Catherine O'Hara, John Hurd, and everybody reprising their roles, including Daniel Stern reprising his role as Marv, Joe Pesci reprising his role as Harry, Kieran Culkin reprising his role as Kevin's younger cousin, Fuller, Devin Rattray reprising his role as Buzz, Kevin's older brother, and everybody reprising their roles for the sequel. Chris Columbus returns as director for Home Alone 2, John Hughes returns to write and produce the movie, John Williams returns as composer, Julia McCat returns as cinematographer, Raja Gosnell returns as editor for the sequel, 20th Century Fox returns to distribute the sequel, and most of everybody returns to do the sequel. Joining them for the sequel is actor Tim Curry, who is a great actor in Hollywood with lots of things that he has done, and you all might know him for being the original actor playing Pennywise the Clown from the 1990s It miniseries. And most of everybody joined in the sequel as well. Home Alone 2 Lost in New York features the return of Kevin McAllister going on a family vacation with his family, going to Florida for the holiday season. But as they went to the airport to catch their flight, he accidentally follows someone who he mistakes for his father, following that person to the plane that takes him to New York City. And plus, Kevin McAllister is alone this time, but in a different state, not with his family. Both the Wet Bandits had broke out of prison, and this time they plan to rob toy stores, for money. And plus, when they see Kevin McAllister, they get revenge on him for putting them in prison, back in Chicago. When Home Alone 2 Lost in New York was released on November 20th, 1992, it was kind of a good sequel, but critics kind of didn't like the movie. But all the fans of the original Home Alone movie, they loved it. And to me, Home Alone 2 Lost in New York was kind of a good movie, Plus, the sequel was great and amazing. Home Alone 3 was pitched during the same time as Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. Both of those films were meant to be produced simultaneously, but those plans fell through. The idea for Home Alone 3 revived in the mid-1990s, like after Home Alone 2 came out, and the early drafts called for Macaulay Culkin to reprise his role as Kevin McAllister, now a teenager. However, by 1994, Macaulay Culkin had took a long hiatus from acting after the last movie he had done was Richie Rich. So, Macaulay Culkin decided to retire from acting, and he declined to reprise his role in Home Alone 3, stating that he'd grown tired of the role and felt like there was nothing else he could have done with it. So, he decided not to return. With Macaulay Culkin not returning, Catherine O'Hara, John Hurd, Devin Rattray, Kieran Culkin, and most of everybody chose not to return, or they were busy with other projects at the same time that Home Alone 3 was in development. Chris Columbus, the director of the first two Home Alone films, chose not to return for Home Alone 3 because without Macaulay Culkin returning, he chose not to return either. John Williams, the composer of the first two films, chose not to return as well. However, guys, John Hughes decided to go with a plan to write another screenplay for Home Alone 3, this time featuring Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci reprising their roles as the Wet Bandits, Marv and Harry, where they would go after Kevin McAllister's younger cousin from the first two films, Fuller, where Fuller would be the main character for the third film, where he would be left home alone. Kieran Culkin was offered to reprise his role as Fuller, plus Jerry Bamman and Terry Snell both will be reprising their roles as Uncle Frank and Anne Leslie from the first two films. This original idea for Home Alone 3, where Fuller would be left home alone while his parents go on vacation, and plus the Wet Bandits would go after him. However, this idea never materialized as both Pesci and Stern declined to reprise their roles and wanted to focus more on other projects. Kieran Culkin also declined to reprise his role as well, feeling that he cannot recapture the same popularity that his older brother did. So, the idea for a third movie featuring Fuller was scrapped. However, guys, that's when John Hughes decided to write an entirely new screenplay featuring new characters and no returning characters from the original two films, where the third film would feature a different character back in Chicago, featuring a new kid being the main character in the film, named Alex. Alex D. Lentz was cast to play the new kid in the third film, Alex. Scarlett Johansson was cast to play Alex's 12-year-old sister, Molly, and most of everybody were cast in this film. Raja Gosnell, the editor of the first two Home Alone films, will be returning to be the director for Home Alone 3, marking this film his directorial debut. Composer for the third film is Nick Glennie Smith. When Home Alone 3 was released on December 12, 1997, it was kind of a good movie, but to me, guys, I kind of felt disappointed that Kevin McAllister was not part of the third movie, and it featured a different kid being left home alone, and of everything. Now, I know, guys, I know you guys are going to tell me, but Home Alone 3 is still a good movie anyways with a different kid, even though Kevin McAllister was not back for the third movie. And to me, guys, my brother liked it, and most people had liked Home Alone 3. But to me, guys, it's still a good movie, but a little disappointed. Home Alone 3 was the final Home Alone film to be released in movie theaters. After that, the later Home Alone sequels, Home Alone 4 and Home Alone: The Holiday Hiss, both of these films were released straight to TV on ABC. Home Alone 4 featured the return of Kevin McAllister, but it featured an entirely different cast playing the characters. And plus, French Stewart played Marv in that fourth film. So yeah. Home Alone: The Holiday Hiss featured a different kid, and plus, everything. And plus, Malcolm McDowell, the actor we all know from the Halloween reboot and sequel Halloween 2, he was in that film. Both Home Alone 4 and Home Alone: The Holiday Hiss, both of these films were released on TV for ABC in 2002 and 2012. After those films, no new Home Alone movie was made since. Years later, guys, in 2021, Home Sweet Home Alone was released in 2021 on Disney Plus, where that movie was kind of a reboot of the original Home Alone franchise, but it features a entirely different character once again. Devin Ratray reprises his role as Buzz from the first two films in a cameo, Home Sweet Home Alone, the reboot, was not a good movie, and yeah. And that's all I can say for this video. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below of what you all thought of this video. And also, let me know in the comments down below of what your favorite Home Alone movie was. Alright? Alright guys, so I'll see you all in the next video, and yep, bye!